Hey, welcome in everybody. It's Paul. I am obviously with Karas Pen Co. I am, if you're unfamiliar with who I am the marketing and brand manager. I also do product planning, and I am in charge of inventory. So hopefully everybody can hear me. It looks like, according to my screen, that my levels and everything are good. But we're just going to do a little bit of intro here. I'll give you guys a brief rundown of what we're going to go on. The chat's live if you guys want to chat with each other or with me. So basically today I'm going to go over the Pen Club coin. I'm going to show it off. I actually have a couple here with me. We're going to talk about it a little bit. If you're unfamiliar with the Pen Club, we'll get into that as well. Sorry, I'm a little bit glistening and hot. I put together a brand new chair for today's live stream because I wanted a chair that that was younger than me, because the chair I was using was from the 1950s and was extremely uncomfortable. So I apologize. I'm a little bit out of breath because I literally just got it done because it just showed up from FedEx. But back into the live stream today. So we're going to do the Pen Club coin update. We'll run through that first after I give some other people a chance to jump on, if there's going to be a little bit of a few more. I'm going to go over some Bolt news. We released the Bolt video, but I'm going to talk a little bit about some stuff that we want to do with the Bolt this year, since it is the 10th anniversary of the Bolt. And then we'll talk a little bit about some Vertex stuff. I'm going to show off some of the upcoming Vertexes specifically. So that's a big one. And it's a big one to me because we haven't really done this before, where we've shown future releases of the Vertex specifically, and I'm going to show a couple of them, and then kind of a selection of the Constellation Vertex series that we have coming up. This is small batch run that we're going to do. Because that one specifically is so different than kind of anything else we've done, it lends itself to being shown this way specifically. So in between the Bolt and the Vertex stuff, I'm going to do a little bit, we'll do a pause basically, because I'm going to need to reconfigure some cameras and stuff like that. So we'll take a break then. You guys can, run to the bathroom or get something to drink, or, do whatever you need to do. And then when I come back, we'll basically, I'll have the cameras reconfigured so I can show off the Vertexes, and we can kind of talk through that. And then if there's time, we might do a Q&A. I also have a forum I'm going to have you guys, I'm going to link during like the last 15 minutes or so of the live stream, where it's going to be kind of a giveaway type thing, where everybody that's in the chat at the time will have an opportunity to fill out the form. And when I close out the live stream, I'll close the form maybe 5 minutes after we close the chat. Basically, I'll do a giveaway where give away some swag and some Karas bucks, which are basically store credit. So that way, kind of, if you're sticking around here through everything, you get a chance to do that kind of stuff. So, all right. Please don't go. I want to see things. And then also, hopefully I don't have this weird flickering thing that's going on with my cameras. It started yesterday when I was recording, and I can't figure out, I talked with the chat for the program. I can't figure out what causes it. I've unplugged everything and replugged everything and restarted stuff, and the cameras just sometimes flicker, and I don't know what it is. So you'll have to bear with me with that. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. All right. There's quite a few of you here, at least according to me. I can see that there's like 6 or 7 of you logged on. A couple of you are already chatting, which is cool. And I think it really only shows me people that are logged in to YouTube to chat. Regardless, we're going to go ahead and get started. So now is the time to talk about the Pen Club coin. I actually have some physical coins, and we'll go over them in a second. I apologize if you are in the chat and you're a member of the club and you have purchased a coin, you obviously don't have it because we haven't made them. Now, we were pretty upfront and honest, and even in the descriptions, we said, hey, this is a pre-order. You're gonna get you're gonna get the coins at a future date sometime in February, and we're actively running the coins right now. So they're literally, we have the first several trays of them done machining wise, and then we have to basically do it. We're doing a finished tumbling process on them. We tested a couple different methods, and we've basically landed on one that we think is appropriate for to kind of match as closely with the pry bars, the coins of the pry bars. So instead of staring at me, let me switch the camera view real quick. All right, so this is where we're at on the coins. So this is kind of the best close-up I could get of them currently with the cameras that I have. So what you're seeing right here is the front and the back of both the coins. The coins are machined out of, I think it's the same stuff. I think we're using C360 brass on these. Same stuff as the pen, same stuff as the pry bars. And it's a two-part process. We basically purchased the raw rods of 1.25 inch, I think. Or yeah, I think it's 1.25 inch bar stock. Basically, we use the lathe to cut the individual coins rather than, a lot of times we'll use a saw cut, where we use a big saw to cut through different pieces. And the reason that we're using the lathe is we have a lot less material loss if we use the lathe. So basically, using the lathe gets us really precision cut. Each one is a specific thickness, and we don't lose very much because we're using a special cutter that basically cuts through it and gives us real clean cuts. So and then we take the blanks, take them over to the mill and basically put them in a fixture that allows us to mill a front and a back. I think it has four coins, so it'll run 4 coins at once in the fixture, and it basically does each side and moves to the other, and then we're using several different techniques in terms of engravers and ball end mills and stuff like that, just to get as clean of engraving and machining as possible. So even though the artwork, especially on the front side with the octopus, is really, really intricate, we are able to get a lot of detail in there. And then Bill took the artwork and added some line work in different areas on the backside with the feathers. It's kind of hard to see in this close-up, but there's a lot of line work and detail in the feathers and going in different directions on the backside of the coin. Overall, it looks really good. And basically, these coins have been machined. We've taken them to a 2-part tumbling process where we've tumbled them with one ceramic, small beads. The first process is with small beads that are kind of harder to take off any burrs that the machining might have left. Because there are a couple of them in some areas, especially on the real fine stuff on the front side of the coin. Some of that lettering, it leaves some little burrs. Basically, we leave it in there for about 30 minutes, tumbles it, takes off any of those burrs, and then we take it over to a polished tumbling machine with much smoother ceramic beads and an acid that basically cleans it and gets it nice and shiny. So that's kind of the finished product right there. So what you're seeing, these are the first 2 coins to get pulled out of that 2-step process. And once again, Ishmael did an amazing job. He's in the chat. You can thank him for the artwork. He did the front this time. The back is his from last year. He's the guru behind all of our Vertex lids. So super excited to show off some more of his work, and this is definitely, you know, kind of showstopper. We want to do something really special for the 5th year, and once again, he knocks it out of the park. Looks amazing. And if you purchase one of these already, we're going to start shipping them next week. Yeah, they do look amazing. Absolutely, they're really, really cool. Please change the thousands of satisfied customers. Yeah, if you're not familiar with that, that's a tongue-in-cheek thing on our boxes. We our first run of boxes, when we switched from bags, because we initially shipped all the product in like sealable vacuum seal bags. When we switched from vacuum seal bags to boxes, we put on the back of the box dozens of satisfied customers. And when we switched to our latest version of the box, the smaller boxes, we removed that saying off there, and a whole bunch of people were like, "Oh, I really like that. It's so funny." And you're gonna see a lot of product coming out that's gonna have some tongue-in-cheek stuff that we've said around the shop, or that we say around the shop a lot. There's going to be some stuff that comes out this year that's got a bunch of in jokes in terms of stuff that we say to other workers. We're going to have some stuff that throws way back to when we only had when we didn't even have pens. We're gonna release some stuff that's all the way back to when we just had phone cases, some little items that we sold around the shop, and at like little like car shows and stuff that we would go to. You're gonna see some stuff like that come out, some that's worded specifically to kind of throw back to those days. So, and we have some ideas for some gift card type things too that we're going to try to incorporate with. It's going to be like a physical gift card with some funny sayings on them and artwork. So we do kind of like to keep it light. And honestly, I think Ishmael and I were really struggling on the backside of that coin to figure out what to put there. And it was just like, let's just put dozens of satisfied customers. Obviously there's more than dozens, and we're super grateful for all the dozens of you guys. So, so there you have it, guys. If you've purchased one of these, you're going to be, we'll be shipping the coins this week. So we'll start shipping the coins from the oldest orders all the way through. It does take a long time to do a coin. It takes to do both sides of a coin, it takes about 26 minutes. So it's about 13 minutes a side. And since you do one side and then flip it over, so it's about 26 minutes to get one coin done. And we can get 4 coins done in 26 minutes. So you figure, like, if you look at it that way, it's, we can't make a lot in a 10-hour day. Like, if we're super efficient, we're getting, I don't know, I haven't done the math, but it's not nearly as many as we'd hope to. So please still be patient with us, but we're going to start shipping everything next week. That will include the sets. So if you're waiting on a set and then pens with the set, because there's a lot of people that are like, hey, I ordered pens with a set or with a coin, all that stuff, we're gonna start next week, and hopefully we can get a huge chunk of them done. If you haven't purchased any of that stuff and you're curious about the Pen Club, the Pen Club is kind of a way for it's difficult to explain. It's partly a way for people that are really into our product to get early access and easier access to the product that we release. So if you're a collector, or if you're a fan and you want to make sure that you have access to a product that we have coming out, the being a part of the club is definitely a way to do that. But it's also like there's a lot of interaction with employees in the club Facebook page. We send out coupon codes that are specific to the Pen Club. Pen Club members get stuff like that. They have access to older releases as well as some prototype stuff. If we have stuff lying around that's that we don't have enough to sell on the website, we frequently will offer them to the Pen Club members. And they get early access, like I said, early access, and a lot of times they'll get, members will also get, like we call it introductory pricing. It's usually a discount, direct discount on the product. Like the last Vertex that we released on a Mesa that just got released today to everybody else, for full MSRP. When the Pen Club members got it, they got it for $20 off, and then they could also use a coupon code on top of that. So there is a benefit. It does cost to get into it. You have to purchase either the coin or the Pribor or a set. But if you're going to buy those items, those other items that we release already, usually within 1 or 2 purchases of product that you might already purchase, you'll have gotten back what you spent on the Pen Club. So it's kind of, I don't know. We did it more for the interaction with the individuals because we were interacting with a lot of people. And that was just kind of one of the ways that we expanded that interaction and allowed us to interact with people via the Facebook group. And so it's something that we all enjoy doing. It was my idea along with Dan Bishop's when he was here. We kind of brainstormed it and came up with it the first year that we did it, ran it by Bill, and it was something that we released. So it's been successful so far. We have a lot of returning people. We get about 250 to 300 people that return from the previous year. And we're about that. We're right around 220 right now that have. So you joke around about cryptocurrency. That's a physical type of a cryptocurrency is kind of what we're thinking in terms of physical gift cards. So more on that to come in the next couple months. So, all right, that's where we're at with the coins. Hopefully you guys are super psyched about it. They look awesome. They feel really cool. I have one right here that's like this one's messed up. This one, the cutting tool did not engrave the banner correctly. So it looks like it looks like the Karas Pen Company in the banner, it was written in Comic Sans instead of the actual font. So it's kind of it's just one that I have sitting here, but like, hopefully you guys dig these as much as I do. There's also some detail, we machine detail on the edge as well. We're going to like a threading tool around it. So it has some detail on the edge. So it looks even more like a coin, but we're really happy with it. I don't know that we'll do machine coins very often. They're very labor intensive and time intensive as well. So this is definitely, if we do it for like the 5th year anniversary, and if we have the club at the 10 years, we'll probably do it again then. But I don't know that we'll necessarily do it every single year. This may be unique in terms of the time frame. Okay, so let's segue right into the bolts. So the reason I'm talking about the bolts again today, and I just did the video yesterday on the bolts, or a couple days ago, along with the video talking about the different types of materials. One of the reasons that I'm talking about it today is this year is technically, we have 2 pens this year that kind of qualify in terms of, hey, this pen is 10 years old. We launched the Render K Kickstarter in 2011, but we fulfilled that Kickstarter in 2012. So technically, those pens are 10 years old in terms of the fulfillment. The bolt we launched in 2012, and the majority of the bolts were fulfilled, I believe, in 2012. The shipping on those were. So, and we don't have any Render Ks right now. They're on the schedule. We want to get back to them and be able to machine those. And one of the reasons that we expanded our machining capabilities and purchased a new machine, I purchased another machine that turns out it's nearly new. It's got like 40 hours on it. Is so that we can make sure that we're machining pens that we've been out of stock of for a while. But we're working on bolts right now, whether that's the titanium bolts or dragon skin groove or the dragon skin version of the copper bolts. We're actively working on bolts. And so we're going to do some special stuff with the bolts this year. We're going to release at least one, I don't want to say 10th anniversary bolt. It's like 10th birthday bolt. I don't know. What do you call is a product if it's having its, this year, the bolt turns 10. So we're going to do some stuff. We got some ideas. Josh, the shop foreman, is working on some cool things for the bolt that I'm looking forward to. Not a lot of different stuff, but definitely some special stuff. I want to try. I'm hoping that we can do some engraving on them. But one of those or one of the releases that we're going to do this 10th for the 10 years is this guy. Well, is going to be a version of the dragon skin titanium. So if I can figure out how to actually run my my camera changing equipment. So what you're seeing now is my personal dragon skin bolt. And basically I put the green aluminum anodized clip and knob on that. I don't know that we'll necessarily release this version with those colored with the colored clips. With titanium stuff, it's very people get really really particular about their pens when they're made of titanium. We've come to find out. And so I don't know that they're that you, if you're a titanium fan, or anybody that would purchase a titanium pen, it would be interested in something that didn't have as much titanium on it as possible. I enjoy this version of it. In fact, the 3 titanium bolts that I use, this one and then 2 of the standard ones, all of them have aluminum clips and aluminum knobs on them. And I have one that has anodized blue on it, one that has, I think, anodized olive on them. I don't know if it's something about the weight with it, but it definitely, some of it I think has to do with the fact that the aluminum knobs, especially the anodized ones, function a lot better in terms of how smooth they are right out of the bat. So right out of the gate. The first titanium bolt that I messed around with, I had to really get that titanium knob to function correctly. I had to really work it and sanded it down. I use a special tool to get the inside so that it would function real smooth. The aluminum just works a lot better for me personally, and I think it also has to do with the weight, which is why I like the dragon skin one too. The dragon skin does remove a decent amount of weight. Now, you're not going to notice it necessarily on the aluminum or on the titanium, not nearly as much as you will potentially when we release the copper version of this pen, but it is noticeable. And it's kind of hard to see in here, but we've put some detail Josh put some detailing in the dragon skin, like the grooves where they overlap. There's some lateral lines in there. Not enough where it's uncomfortable to grip, but definitely enough where it looks cool. And it does actually add to the grip on your hand without being uncomfortable. So we're prototyping these right now, just kind of fleshing out the way that they come off the machine. One of the reasons that I have this is that it wasn't coming off right in terms of there was more material left than we wanted it on the dragon skin. And because we have to basically do this in a separate machine, we're not doing the dragon skin during the lathe work. When we machine the barrels, we're actually putting them in a mill and milling the dragon skin profile on this. It's a 2-step process, so it takes a little bit longer for us to get this done. So we're still in the prototyping phase on this one. Hopefully, I know a lot of people asked when this would be available. probably sometime in March, maybe late February. I'm not sure. I'm not positive on that, but I would say for sure in March. They also are really time consuming in terms of getting the tumbled look. It takes a good day to tumble one entire batch of uppers and lowers. And that's about 50 to 75 pens. We can, in our biggest tumbler, we can tumble about 50 to 75 pens total. So it is a little bit time consuming, but this is one of the pens that we're going to definitely highlight this year, or one of the versions of the bolt that we're definitely going to highlight this year for the 10th anniversary. We're setting up our titanium anodized station. So it's definitely going to be something that we put some effort into, and we're excited to kind of piece it together, try some new ideas in terms of a clip that's designed specifically for the 10-year anniversary. So there's a lot of options coming up for this one that you're going to see this year. Not all of them are going to be like super special like this and limited. We will do probably a 10th anniversary. Probably do like maybe a bolt, a 10-year bolt at every like level in terms of an aluminum version, a special bronze or brass version, a special copper version, a special titanium version. So kind of so it gets all the different price points. If you're like, I don't really want to spend, $120 or $125 on the titanium or copper version, but I'd like to get one of them, then we'll have the less expensive version with the aluminum. And then maybe we'll do a set too. We've done sets all in the past where it's like a set of all four of them together. If I can convince Bill to do something like that, that's definitely something we could do. So that's kind of, I just wanted to show this one off and talk a little bit about the bolt and let you guys know, hey, we know that the bolt is turning 10 this year. We are planning to do some special bolts. If you have anything specific in terms of questions for the bolt, you can either do that now, or actually, you know what, hold on to those until the end. We'll do Q&A at the end. Things are moving a little bit faster than I expected them to. We're going to take a break, go get something to drink. I think it'll be like a couple minutes, probably 2 minutes. You got like 2.5, 3 minutes. And when we come back, I'm going to have the Vertexes set up, and we'll get right into the Vertexes. So those of you that are sticking around to the Vertexes can kind of see what I've got planned and see some looks ahead. So 2.5, 3 minute break. We'll be back at like, what time is it right now? 4:28. So let's say like 4:32, 4:31, 4:32. So, all right, be right back. Okay, so a little bit quicker than I thought it would take. I even had time to take a sip of water. So let's jump in to vertexes. I'm going to show off kind of an array of vertexes. I'm going to show off the Pacific vertex. And then I'm going to, can you guys hear me? Because it's telling me that I have no sound currently. Give me somebody let me know if you can hear me. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to figure out why my mic says it's showing up, but the stream says I don't have any audio. Waiting on you guys. Is anybody here? Did you guys take off? Oh, we're not back yet. Okay. Well then. Okay, so you guys hear me. All right then. Perfect. Okay. So volume seems a little bit lower. Okay, I can turn that up. So let's turn the volume up. I turned it up a little bit, but I don't want to turn it up too loud because this mic sucks. All right, so I'm going to walk through. Here's the plan. I'm going to walk through the Pacific vertex. And these three vertexes are basically going to be in the picture in a minute here. The Pacific vertex, the Ana Mesa vertex, and then a future release that it has yet to be named that we're still working on. I'm going to show those three. And one of the reasons that I'm trying to show these in the live stream is because I feel like sometimes people have questions like, I don't really like it. I like the way that it looks in the pictures, but sometimes it shows up and it doesn't really look like it was represented. And so I want to try this because sometimes I feel like doing it on a live camera with lights in a different position, it seems like the colors show up a little bit better. Now that might not be true, and this could totally fail, and they might be represented here completely wrong, but we're going to try it. So first off, let's go over here and we'll see if my lights are actually, my lights are actually kind of a pain in the ass. So let's see. That also doesn't help. I'll tell you what, trying to nail down lighting for products like this can be very difficult. You know what? We'll leave it like that because it is pretty close. It's just the glare is a little bit obnoxious. So let's see if I can move them to reduce some of the glare, which I'm not going to be able to do, of course. All right, well, maybe this was a failed experiment. Anyway, so here's the three of the current, two of the current Vertex special releases, and that actually might be a little bit better with no light directly on it. So let's go with this. I don't really like it. It's not that good. I apologize. This is a little bit of a hot garbage. Yeah, Chris, you would know. You were here and purchased it. So it's just the problem I'm having is just the glare is kind of off. I'm going to leave it like this. Hopefully you won't have to, you're kind of the glare doesn't bother you. Yeah, I could bounce the light off a white card, but then I'd have to change the setup. When you're here-ish, you can help me reconfigure the studio because right now it's a little bit of a hot mess. And realistically, the one that looks the worst is the Pacific one. It's much greener than this shows, so the light's actually washing out a lot of the green. Anyway, so the reason that I wanted to do this is just to kind of give you an idea of it looks different. They look a little different. So we're kind of brainstorming ideas for the one on the top right now. The Pacific and the Ana Mesa, those batches of those two releases were really small. We ended up only having, I want to say 40 of the Pacific, and I think we have about 10 left, maybe. And then we had exactly 45 of the Ana Mesa ones. And part of that is the Pacific ones we made in-house. Zoe made those, and the first batch of those that she did, they were undersized, so we really couldn't use them. They were significantly undersized to the point where like they just didn't fit right, and so she had to go back and basically make more. And when we did that, we really only got around to having about 35 or 40 of them that matched and looked good, caps and bodies. And then the Ana Mesa, for whatever reason, this material, I ordered it twice, but so we lost product in transit. It's the second time it's happened. It just happens when you're shipping a bunch of stuff from the UK to the States. And so over half of the rods for this release didn't show up. So we had initially purchased enough to have about 120 of these pins, and I think we bought 37 rods and only 17 showed up because he shipped them. I don't want to say he shipped them separately on purpose. He shipped them. He shipped us 17 once because he was waiting on the other batch of them to come in from the manufacturer. So we never ended up getting the other 20 rods. They didn't show up. And then the stuff on the top. So the stuff in this product, this material is made in the UK by Aeronoid Plastics. I don't know a lot about them. I know that all the research that I've done, they're a UK manufacturer of resins. This material for the pen that has yet been named, that Ish and I are going to brainstorm an idea on, is from Conway Stewart. So if you're familiar with pens, you're familiar with fountain pen. Conway Stewart has been a company that has been around for a long time, since like the 20s or 30s. Gone through a lot of different iterations. I'm not sure exactly when this material was manufactured. I do know from Vince that it is in fact Conway Stewart material. Similarly to the material we used for the Galaxia, that was also Conway Stewart material. And we have a third Conway Stewart material that's going to be coming out later this year. They're all this marble like chip material. The last one's a red and like bronze color. So that's basically, now this one, the top one that's yet to be named, the Conway Stewart one, I don't have a date for that one specifically. It's probably going to be April or May, because I have already planned out this month and next month, potentially. Well, I definitely have planned out this month and next month. Next month is going to be the next one. I'm going to move this around, and please try to not get seasick while I change the view a little bit. I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to go like this. Okay. All right, so it's not perfect, but it'll work. Oh, and then I had to just go ahead and mess with it one last time and move it all over the place. This is part of a series of. It's difficult to explain this. So we're going to be the next release in March will feature these pens, and a bunch of pens like this. And basically, all of these pens are going to be constellation. They're not constellation inspired. I wanted to do nebula inspired pens. So if you're familiar with the different nebulas that are out in different galaxies, the Horsehead Nebula, the Crab Nebula, a bunch of different ones. When they're photographed under different through different types of lenses, they show up differently. Different colors pop out. There's famous photos of them, inspirational posters that they use images of them for. This material is Zoe made this in-house. We didn't give her any guidance on what she was, hey, make them look like this, make them look like that. We basically allow her to do whatever her creativity kind of leads her towards. And so this whole series was initially going to be based on Nebula. Now, we're not naming them after nebulas any longer, because a bunch of different companies recently have released pens using that name specifically, some nebula or something, or that word nebula specifically. And I didn't want to fight with it. And representing that on a lid is kind of difficult. And Ishmael and I collaborated. He had a really great idea. We kind of both went back and forth in terms of using star charts, and then we picked out different stars or features in amongst those some lesser known constellations, and we're basically we're basing all of these releases off of that. So what you're seeing here is 6 pens from one of 6 releases, and there's going to be 6 different releases in this series, and each release will have 15 pens, and they're not all the same color. They're going to be similar to this, where you have this transition from colors through kind of a spectrum or a gradient, where you have this dark green and purple on this one and blue, and then it kind of fades into more of the green and less of the purple, and then lighter purple. Then it starts to pick up some of the reds and pinks and teals. So the whole, we're not doing zodiacs specifically. We're not going to do zodiacs. We're giving them titles. So we're using features in specific constellations, but they're I'm trying to think the term now. They're they're astronomically named features. So there's a specific way that they name stars and planetary systems. NGC 6504, and basically we've selected, based off of some images, we've selected 6 of those names off of 6 different star charts in 6 different lesser known constellations, and we're using those as the title of these. And I forgot to get one of the lids. I would show you the lid. But it basically took parts of that star chart and laid it down as a background, and then did star designations, and then basically went ahead and laid out the top with a whole bunch of space themed imagery, and they look really cool. If you're part of the pen club, you kind of got a teaser on what the lid looks like the other day when I was lasering them. But basically, the whole idea is it's going to be like each one is going to be kind of a spectrum in terms of they're not very close to being the same. As you move through all 15 pins, they're going to move through a lot of different colors. Get the lid. Okay. 1 second. You can ruminate and talk amongst yourself. I'll go grab a lid. All right, guys. So I'm back. Very carefully. So here's one of the lids. This is not necessarily the lid that will go with these. JC, yeah. So the nibs threaded in. We use a threaded housing. We use a threaded housing basically into our grip sections. However, the nib and feet are friction fit inside of that housing. So, so there is that. So here we have basically the lid for this one. We're kind of teasing it right now. So if you want to go look up IC405 on Wikipedia or a star chart, you'll be able to find out where it is. And ruin the surprise or what have you. But so thank God we're not looking at me right now. We're looking at way more awesome things. We're looking at the Vertex. So basically the whole idea with these is that this release, each one will have a different star designation for each one, and it's like I said, just to clarify. So these are 6 pens from a release of 15. So, and there's going to be 6 different releases. So 90 pins total. So basically these 6 is at one end of this basically color spectrum. I couldn't bring them all in here because there's just tons of them. But it just kind of moves through, and the photos of each group will be taken of the whole group. And I haven't decided yet on how, like, I don't think we're not going to be able to differentiate between them when you purchase them. Unfortunately, the website doesn't allow us to sell individual one piece like this one is for sale. It's frustrating that we can't do it. But it's going to be, each one will be, we're actually going to, so that's the other thing. The boxes themselves that these ship in on the bottom of the box, we don't normally put anything on them. We just normally sand them. The bottom of the box will have, they'll be numbered 1 through 15. So these will be one of the few Vertexes that we've actually physically numbered. So like if this were to be IC405, the bottom of the box will have IC405, 1 of 15, 2 of 15, 3 of 15, and so on and so forth. Because there's very few of these, we wanted to kind of make them a little bit special. So there's 90 of these pens total, but each different selection of them is going to be 15 total pens. And they do look dramatically different than each other. Some of them are very light and pastel colored. Some of them are dark like this. One group of them has a very bright colors, like oranges and reds predominantly popping out. So there's going to be a whole different, and we'll probably do them. We'll do one release one day and then another release 2 or 3 days later, and so on and so forth. It's just it was very hard for us to represent these pens and to kind of do them justice. To kind of do the material justice, and if we combine them all together, they're a little bit too all over the place. So it was just difficult. It became difficult when she was finishing them up. There was too much variance in the colors that she used, and it's it's part of the learning process. She's learning on how to pour them and do each one specifically the same every single time, and so it was just difficult for her to kind of to do that process this early on. I think she got in a little bit over her head, and so there is a lot of variance in them, and it can be difficult because there is a lot of stuff that has to go into it. Temperature of the product has to be kept at a certain temperature before it's poured, and then into the vacuum chamber. So there is so it just caused her a little bit more grief than she was ready to tackle this early on and learning how to do this. And she's learning all of this on her own. Zoe has basically taken this on her own. She's running it with herself. She's doing a lot of research online. And there's a man locally that runs a pen like warehouse, and he's given her some help in terms of, hey, you could use this instead of something else. So she does have a little bit of help locally, but for the most part, she's doing all this on herself. So it's very much all her, and she's doing a great job. There was just a lot of variance in all of these because we wanted to have about 100, and so having them be so varied, we had to come up with a little bit of a different idea, which was why I came up with the idea of basically doing a color array, going from one end of a spectrum to another and kind of moving through for each release. Yeah, it is a bit of an issue when you're kind of planning these out. If you're not very, very specific in how you pour the resins and the temperature of the resin and all that stuff, you can get a lot of variance because different colors have a shorter time before they start to harden, and different types of materials and types of and types of additives to them and dyes will change how they color. So that's kind of that one. I don't know that we have a lot of time for question and answer. I wanted to kind of hit this right at an hour. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm grabbing a, if I can find it here. Okay, here we go. I'm grabbing a link to a Google form that I'm going to put into the chat. And if you wouldn't mind, in the next 10 or 15 minutes while I filled some questions, please fill out this form. As soon as this, I'll probably give it about 5 minutes after the live stream ends. Give you guys a chance to fill the form out. Anybody that fills the form out is going to be entered into a contest. We're going to give away some Karas bucks, which is store credit. and then some swag, probably about 3 winners or so. Over the next couple days, I'll run a random generator and draw 3 names from the hat and send you and email you guys some stuff. So please complete this form. That way you can be a part of the drawing. And in the meantime, let's do some questions. I will come back to my ugly mug and we can go from there. If you guys have questions, now is the time to ask them because my other camera is going wonky. So do a Q&A. And if you just jumped in, if you jumped in now and you're watching the live stream afterwards and you missed some of the beginning part of it, go ahead and go back. We showed off the coins. We showed off and talked about the bolts. So there is an opportunity for Siri to see some of the other stuff that we talked about. But I'm waiting. If anybody has questions, now's the time. Maybe you won't have any questions and we can wrap it up early. Yeah, the Vertex anniversary was a little bit expensive. That's the unfortunate part about the Vertexes, is especially the ones that we make. There's a lot of time and a lot of process, even outside of the machining, that kind of goes into the Vertexes that puts a little bit of a different price point on those as opposed to some of our other fountain pens. We are hoping that over the next year or so we can figure out a way to make some Vertexes at a lower price point. Any plans to do more varieties of Vertex in your custom acrylics? Oh, Decograph. Yeah. So we definitely want to start production on resin decographs again. That is definitely something that is in the plan. Bill and I talked about it over the fall. And so we do definitely want to do some of that stuff. I don't know how soon we'll be able to get to that, but it's definitely it's on the production schedule for 2022. Titanium inks, definitely want to get to that this year too. Right now we're prototyping titanium EDKs just because they're on the schedule next. So we're prototyping those now. We do need to manufacture an entire batch of inks, aluminum ones. We don't really need any brass or copper ones, but we definitely need aluminum ones. And when we do that, hopefully we can also do the titanium ones at that point in time too. Serialized releases. It's difficult to do serialized releases outside of the Vertex and the Decograph. We've done it in the past with some stuff, and we might do it with some of the 10-year bolts, and maybe we'll do it with some inks too. It's one of the plans that I have this year is to try to figure out how to do some special ink stuff beyond just, oh, it's a titanium ink, like something different with the ink to kind of bring a little bit more to that product line, since it is considered our flagship fountain pen. So we do want to do that. I just don't know when we're going to be able to do that. Starliners, I don't know. The entire reactor line has been put on the back burner as of now, and if we return to that, it will not be until 2023 with a complete redesign and reissue of that entire line of pens. We did not do the car sticker with the car theme pen for this latest release, and there won't be one for the next release either, specifically because both that release, the black and blue and the one that I have coming up, weren't pulled directly from a racing livery. They were just kind of like, we just like these colors together. However, in the future, we do plan on doing like at least two more of the R types this year. Those ones will probably have stickers that reference some type of car in the future. If you join the pen club and you haven't received any of the emails, send me an email at paul@karascustoms.com. And I'll look at that I'll look into your issue with that. So that way I can look into that. Orange and Blue 4G TV 2. We released that already. We did that a year and a half, 2 years ago. We released the Retract R-Type V2 in Gulf Blue in like 2018, 2019. So I don't have any currently. We made 100 of them, and once we sold out of them, we don't have any more. We are thinking about doing metal Vertexes, titanium and aluminum. That's definitely something we can do with that pen. The machining on that pen doesn't preclude it from being made out of metal. So it is something that we're looking at doing. It's something that I want to see done. So brass fluted retracts. Yes, I would like to see brass fluted retracts. So alternate materials for the pencils. Look for us to do something special with the pencils soon. Potentially, yeah. So I don't want to give anything away because there's some work that has to go into it, but we do plan on having some alternate materials for the pencils in the future, but it's going to be a big deal. We say vertexes instead of vertices because it's a pen and it's not a geometry. Even though it references geometry, it was surprising. So we decided to do vertexes because we thought that people would not understand vertices. Unfortunately, people do understand vertices, and they constantly question us on the vertexes thing. So we've also said vertex and just used that plural. So it's kind of whatever you want to say, but around here we just say vertexes. So I don't think we'll ever do. It's very unlikely that we will do frag grips or any of that stuff for the Vertex. We do have ringed. I think we have ringed. We have frag and fluted grips for the ink, and those are going to be released on the site as an option to purchase probably within the next month or month and a half. In terms of zirconium, that's probably not going to be an option. It's the cost alone is just makes it really difficult for us to do. I just don't, and it's really difficult to machine. It just really is. There's a reason that zirconium pens are multiple hundreds of dollars, $200, $300, the manufacturers that do make those. It's extremely expensive. There's a lot of loss, a lot of tool breakage, and you have to basically figure out how to make up money on that. All right, so last questions in. Hopefully you guys have completed the live stream form. I'll leave it up for about 5 more minutes. Please, please, please complete that so you can get added into the drawing. I want to make sure that everybody that's in here gets a chance to join in that. I don't care who you are, whoever's in here. If you are a part of the live stream, please fill out the form. I really I like having everybody in there. So otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll do a quick closeout here. I don't know that we're gonna have. We'll have dragon skin in almost every single material. that we have available. It's become a super popular version. So we're prototyping the regular ringed EDKs in titanium right now because we were already making those aluminum versions because I ran out of aluminum ones. So we're doing that one first, but we will definitely have dragon skin titanium EDKs. The only pen in terms of a retractable pen that will not have dragon skin added to it is the retract, because it's not possible for us to machine that detail on the angle of the taper of the retract basically precludes us from machining that detail on there. All right, guys, I really appreciate it. We've been on for about an hour, just over an hour and 5 minutes. I really appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much for being a part of, our kind of first planned official live stream. Mark your calendars. It's from here on out, second Friday of the month, barring anything crazy where I'm sick or I'm out of town for something crazy. But I do plan on being here for these for the foreseeable future. We're definitely gonna make sure that we feature some different things. Definitely in the future, I plan on featuring some video content that I basically talk over. Some of it specifically being some machining content. So look for that in the future as well. Otherwise, have a great weekend, everybody. I really appreciate you being here. I know I'm gonna have a crazy busy weekend. I'm gonna wrap up here. It's Super Bowl and it's Valentine's Day and it's the weekend. So enjoy there is a Karas Pen Co. There is a Karas Pen Co. Facebook page. There's also a Karas Pen Club Facebook group, and the club is only for club members. I'm glad that we can do it at a time that works for as many people as possible. But so thank you guys for being here. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Have a frosty beverage. Watch the Super Bowl if you're into that. If you're not, spend some time with your loved ones. Don't take them for granted any weekend, but especially Valentine's Day weekend. Otherwise, everybody, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you again soon. And if you want to purchase anything, if you're interested in Karas Pen Co stuff, especially the club stuff, hit up the website. There is a Karas Pen Club link right on there. It's the top one on the website, so you can join the club. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.